As a leader on this team, how do you go about just trying to maybe pick guys up or pick the collective mood of the team up?
Go home, drink some wine, move on to the next day.
Okay, so there is something that I do preach to all of my players, whether it's a player who I train as a client or a player who I coach with the multiple teams that I coach on. And that is mindset. Mindset is huge. If you want to win games, if you want to win championships, you need to have a winning mindset. And for really to be honest, every player has a different version of a winning mindset. However, they all tend to have the same aspects, and that is work ethic. And while some people may disagree that you need to have work ethic to be an actual pro player, or you need to have work ethic to be successful, there is one thing in common, and that's what it is. So we've seen recently when it comes to Karl Anthony Towns that, in my opinion, he does not have a winning mindset. That's why the Timberwolves are not doing so great this year in the playoffs. While they do have one of the best draft picks of probably all time in Anthony Edwards, we see with Cat that he doesn't necessarily himself have it. So what I'm talking about is, what I would really like to see is Anthony Edwards come out and say, hey, publicly, I'm pushing Cat. I want him to be a great player because that's what a leader would be. You need to have leadership to, of course, succeed. However, Karl Anthony Towns, in a recent interview after a playoff game, did say that he just wants to go home and have some wine. Whether that means him getting drunk or just him enjoying whatever wine he drinks, I'm personally not a wine, or I drink a little bit of wine, but maybe like 4 times a year. But I personally disagree with the idea of, hey, we got a loss, I'm just going to go home and have a drink. Because I've seen players who I've coached even who have the mindset of, hey, we lost our game by 30. I'm not going to show up to practice for the next 2 or 3 days because I feel bad about myself. And while I understand a loss, especially a big one, being a 30-point loss as an example, sure, you're going to feel sad. You're going to feel upset. But what you should also feel is anger and disappointment with yourself and also your team. And I don't mean a disappointment where you want to put down your teammates, but what I'm talking about is disappointment saying, hey, guys, we need to work better. We need to work harder. Maybe we need to come 15 or 20 minutes earlier to next practice so that we can work on some of the aspects that we messed up on. So if we had a game where we've got 5 makes out of 20 free throws, guess what we need to work on? We really need to work on those free throws. You should be at the youth level. You should be at least 50% from the free throw line. At the pro level, you should be in the 80% range or higher. So this is why I'm making this video, and that is because of the interview that we just seen with Karl Anthony Towns. He didn't want to talk about the loss. I understand he's upset, but at the same time, you don't want to show a weakness when the other team that you're playing is most likely going to be listening to what you say. We have to remember that as a player, you should be really trying to scout out the other team. You really want to see their weaknesses. You really want to be able to see how you can really kind of mess with them on the court mentally. And these things are all things that incorporate into being a winning player. You need to show strength, whether you're showing strength to the other team or people who are interviewing you. You need to show strength on the court, not giving up, not sitting back on defense saying, well, we're down by 30, yeah, just blow by me. You need to show strength because you never know when that 30-point loss could turn into a 10-point win. You just don't know. And if you can continue to show strength at that point, you can still potentially win a game or a series. So what I'm trying to say today is, if you have the mindset of giving up, then that's not a winning mindset. If you want to win more games, At that point, you need to then look inwards on yourself and in on your team and say, what do we need to improve? What are some of the stats as a team that we need to improve on? Did we get out rebound? Did we get a higher 3-point percentage shot against us? Things like that. And then you can look inwards on yourself and say, what did I do wrong? What did I mess up on? How many turnovers did I get? Why did I get those turnovers? Can I change that? How can I not get that many turnovers? And then you start asking yourself who, what, why, where, and how. At that point, you have a winning mindset. If you have a 20-point loss or a 10-point loss, 30, 50-point loss, whatever it is, you need to then look inwards and say, I need to get to the gym earlier. I need to do more research. I need to figure out why we made this loss happen and how to correct that. And as a coach, that's what I do every single day. Is there anything that I personally missed that we could have improved on? I write down notes like crazy. I write down notes on other teams like crazy because I want to win. And that is a winning mindset. It's called scouting. You don't have to just scout other teams. You can scout your own team. If you're a coach like myself, you can look at your practices and say, okay, if I was scouting my team, what are my weaknesses so that maybe I can fix those before another team notices my weaknesses? And then at that point, we've corrected them before the other team even notices. I do this every single practice. I do this every single game. Even though I may not be getting paid for certain teams that I coach, you still have to have that winning mindset, and because now you're also improving not just yourself, but you're improving your team and your players. Your goal as a coach should be to help advance every single one of your players to a higher level. Whether they play on your team in the future or not, you should be always trying to get them to the next level. You should be really trying to coach yourself out of a job so that you can help those players that you're coaching reach a higher level. At that point, you now have a winning mindset, and you will win more games because now you're improving your players, you're improving your team, you're making yourself look better, and you're making your organization and your team better overall. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.